Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. It's February 13th, 2022, and I want to start with a question. Do you think it's a good idea to block out the sun to save us from global warming? And a better question, did you know we've already been doing that for well over 60 years? Let me know in the comments. Is it a good idea to block out the sun? Ever? Even if global warming is what they say it is going to harm everybody on the planet. Is it a good idea? Let me know. Let's just do a public poll on this one. But we're going to get into what they want to call accidental geoengineering. The public pushback against ship tracks, chemtrails, contrails, plane farts, whatever you want to call them, artificial cloud creation, what they call accidental geoengineering, legalized geoengineering with stratospheric sulfur injections, marine cloud brightening, all of that geoengineering jazz, and the growing push to ban geoengineering altogether, which really makes me happy. I think we're coming to a precipice where the public is starting to, not just the public, but the policymakers are starting to realize how stupid and how dangerous this idea is. But they're still, and the talking head, paid for shill mouthpieces in the legacy media are still trying to keep geoengineering in their back pocket. We're going to get into all of that. If you're watching this somewhere else because somebody uploaded, because everything I do is open source and free of charge, you can download this video, do whatever you want to with it, burn it to a DVD, send it to your grandma. I'm cool with it. Come over to YouTube and type in ClimateViewer, all one word, and you can find my channel, or use the link on the screen, or you can find all of the ClimateViewer network. You can connect with me on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, Getter, Parler, Facebook, Twitter. Join my Discord chat. Check out my merch shop on Teespring. Support me monthly on Patreon. Do a one-time donation on PayPal. I'm now on Gab as well, as many of you suggested. So I'm on Gab as well. And you can find links to all of this at connect.climateviewer.com. Please go over there and connect with me. Just a real quick one. I guess I'll show it real quick. I made an update to the page at connect.climateviewer.com. And if you go over there now, this is what you're going to see. You'll see my three websites: ClimateViewer News, weathermodificationhistory.com, and climateviewer.org, which is ClimateViewer Maps. And then you'll see the support links to donate. Now, quick side note, GoFundMe's got me sick in the stomach for what they're doing to the Canadian truckers and all the other shenanigans they've done over the years. So also let me know in the comments, if you've got a good idea for a better solution than GoFundMe, then they can go F me. I will change that immediately because I'm done with these people. So for now, if you still want to use it, great. But you can support me monthly on Patreon or PayPal. The merch shop's here. But I wanted to show you guys this. All of my video links are right here, so you can go to all of my channels. I am on Getter. I am verified on Getter. It's good to know people. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I am on Gab, and Parler seems just dead AF. But one of the things I changed is you can now actually go to the Give, Send, Go. I've heard about Give, Send, Go. I will check that out, Note to self, Give, Send, Go. Matter of fact, let's put that in here so I remember to go there afterwards. Gibson, go, boom. We'll check that out after the video's over with, because that was the one I was thinking of. I appreciate you, chat. Always looking out for me. Chat's so good to me. Right there, L. I appreciate you. But as you can see, now it links to the ClimateViewer Facebook, the Weather Modification History Facebook, and my personal Facebook. So if you click any of these links, it's going to take you over to, my Jim Lee page. We got the Weather Modification History.com page, well over 16,000 likes on the page. It's never been actually linked on there, so I wanted to link to all of the different things. So if you're still on Facebook or Twitter, there's ClimateViewer, Weather Modification History, and my personal Facebook and Twitter, which I've had forever. And of course, join us in the Discord chat. And, if you're going to be viewing all these links that I'm about to go through, you might want to protect your IP address. It is your privacy. It is your way to keep them off your back. And the only way you can do that is with a good virtual private network. It encrypts all of the data going in and out of your computer. If you go to connect.climateviewer.com and you click the link right here, which is expressvpn.com/climateviewer, you can use that to encrypt your data, and you get 3 months free when you sign up. Legit affiliate at ExpressVPN. I love them. I use them. I've used them for multiple years. Fastest, bestest evers. So let's get right into this thing. I'm going to leave the chat up today because I think it'll be fun. And plus, I figured out how to keep the chat from resetting every time I change my scenes, which is beautiful. So chat, feel free to try not to be toxic while we do the video. You're part of this thing. So back in 2018, I wrote a paper for climatex.mit.edu. It was originally published right here, climatex.mit.edu/accidental geoengineering ship tracks and contrails. Most viewed article on their entire website because I had too much science and too much facts in there for them to deal with. And it really upset them. But what I want to talk about first is what they call accidental geoengineering. We talk about geoengineering all the time, and and I know what we're talking about. We're talking about the stuff that we can see today. Namely, planes farting all over the sky, blotting out the sun, and ships traveling across the ocean, making globalization so cool, bringing all that crap from China that we should be getting locally, and to the point where now we don't have stuff on our shelves. Why is this a problem? Well, I'm not going to read you the whole article because it's clearly very lengthy and it's very well referenced. I do suggest you read it because it is very important to me. But regardless, we'll just hit the big points from it. So the reason I wrote this article is because on MIT, and I was writing this for climatex.mit.edu, so I figured I might want to chew some MIT butthole. And they had written an article, we're about to kill a massive accidental experiment in reducing global warming. It's just an accident, everybody. I mean, ship tracks, accident. I mean, it's just an accident, right? But regardless, MIT Technology Review, we're about to kill it. A forthcoming United Nations regulation will slash shipping industry pollution, but may also speed up climate change. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought the whole point of dealing with climate change was to deal with pollution. But if pollution good because it blocks out the sun, then we don't want to stop that pollution. Don't believe me? That was their exact words. And, they said straight up, we need to, not have more. Well, they want to cut it down to 0.5% sulfur emissions, but sulfur cools the planet. So the sulfur emissions from ship tracks cool the planet, and they want to keep that. They want to slash it to 0.5% sulfur content, down from the current 3.5%, or install exhaust cleaning systems. And, that'd be bad. Because as John Neeson from the Arctic Methane Emergency Group said, we suggest the G20 should initiate an international project with the Manhattan Project's focus and intensity on geoengineering the planet, on cooling the planet. Because, the Clathrate gun hypothesis, the idea that methane hydrates are going to vent rapidly and have runaway global warming, and we're all going to die like the dinosaurs did because dinosaur farts melted methane, which then erupted and then killed the dinosaurs. Can't make this stuff up. Read the article. It's links in the details already, but we're not going to get any further in that. So yeah, we're about to kill a massive accidental experiment in global warming. The problem with it is this does not look accidental to me by any stretch of the imagination. This is MarineTraffic.com. And when you look at the amount of marine traffic there is, it's freaking mind-boggling. Now, I know that this may be new to some of you guys, but these are all the ships currently traveling across the Atlantic Ocean, all right? And then you get over here in the Mediterranean, you see it's all packed up. Everywhere you go, ships. And you can click on any one of these ships, and you can see these are these massive ships, okay? So, like, you click on these, and you're going to see that's U.S. Navy. But look, I mean, this right here, absolutely Costco shipping. And that thing is a football field long. I mean, just absolutely monstrously big ships. These are what these monstrously big ships look like. Okay. So these are the types of ships that we're talking about. And when you go to marine traffic and you look at the size of this crap, you have to go, well, damn, bro. How much is ship tracks really contributing to global warming? Or is it actually cooling the planet like they say it is? And the truth of the matter is, I don't think it's helping at all. But this is because of what's called ship bunker fuel, the dirtiest fuel, as they call it, heavy fuel oil. That's what these ships run on. But the fact of the matter is that, have they deleted this article? They have deleted this article. You guys so slick. You think you so slick? Check archive. Because I keep everything on archive.org, you assholes. So we'll just go here. This looks good to me. I back up everything. I mean, literally everything. You're not gonna get by on this one. How 16 ships create as much pollution as all the cars in the world. Okay? This is from dailymail.co.uk. This is in 2009. So let me get this straight. Riddle me this. If 16 ships create more pollution than every single car in the world, why exactly in the hell are they blaming us for global warming? Because I thought that the whole point was to deal with the problem. The problem clearly isn't us. The problem is globalization. The problem is international shipping and international airplane traffic. Gonna prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Still got the news of the day to get to, which is the shenanigans coming out of Bloomberg in an opinion piece saying that we need to do this geoengineering anyway. I'm just trying to make my point up front. Holler at your boy. So let's go back to this. 16 ships create more pollution than all the cars in the world. These are those ships, and they are everywhere. I mean, damn it, everywhere. This is an insane amount of ships. And this is globalization at work. I mean, this is international shipping. This is international fishing. This is all of the military ships, all. And what does it do? It creates ship tracks. So if you're not familiar with the term ship tracks, I would like to take you to ClimateViewer 3D. So on ClimateViewer 3D, what I've done is I brought up 2 satellite images simultaneously because I want you to see this. This is from January 30th, 2013. Just an example date. Happens to be the one, here, let me stop this thing from spinning. Happens to be the one that I pictured in my article. So that's why I'm bringing up this date. So I had a picture. This was included in the article I wrote, and I wanted to show it to you live on ClimateViewer 3D. So on ClimateViewer 3D, we have this beautiful 3D globe. It's beautiful. You know it is. Hate all you like. You can look at it flat. I don't care. That's your thing. But these lines that you're seeing here are ship tracks. This cloud bank that you're seeing is called marine stratocumulus clouds, okay? So these are clouds that are created by ships, and they're clearly visible here. The lines that you're seeing here, this is where the ship is, and as you can see, it gets wider and wider and wider till it fans out, and it covers the entire freaking Pacific Ocean. What you can't see are the hidden ship tracks. But I found a nifty way to do that. So if you go to the Modus Terra satellite, and they have what's called corrected reflectance true color. True color is what we're seeing right now, what it actually looks like to the naked eye. But if we get rid of that and we go to the 367 band, magically, we start to see this. Oh, what are these lines? I'm sure you guys can see that. So these are the ship tracks that you can't see with the unaided, my cat's wilding out. These are the ship tracks highlighted by the 367 band, and you can see them through the stratocumulus bands. Isn't that amazing? This is ship tracks. This is what they look like. This is where you can't see them normally with the unaided eye. But with this magical 367 band, all of a sudden, the invisible becomes very visible. See them here? This is before. Hard to see, almost impossible. Turn on the 367 band. There's all the ship tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, just all through there, seeding all of these clouds, scavenging all of the water vapor that normally would be going to California and all up and down the coast. The reason none of this water vapor is going to turn into clouds and make it to California is because all of these ships are dumping all of all these chemicals into the sky, which are making clouds, which they claim are cooling the planet and cooling the Pacific, and therefore there's no rain. There's no clouds to make rain because the ships have scavenged it all. It is called overseeding. Overseeding the Pacific Ocean because of international shipping, because 16 of these freaking boats make more pollution than all the cars in the world. That's why we have a weather problem, not to mention a pollution problem, a geoengineering problem. Oh, an accidental experiment to reduce global warming that's been going on for decades. Think that's the only accident? Airplane contrails may be creating accidental geoengineering. This is from the Smithsonian Magazine. This is another one that I covered in the article, accidental geoengineering. The reason I'm bringing this up is because while most of us have been pretty pissed off about geoengineering that we see, visible, let me make this real clear, visible climate change happening every single day over your house, in your hood. You can see it with your naked eyes. You don't need a climate scientist to point this shit out to you. This is climate change. Clearly, this is climate change. Am I right? That's climate change. You can see it, but they want to call it accidental geoengineering. Okay? Accidental geoengineering. So when you guys hear me talk about accidental geoengineering, I'm just using the terms that they're using because guess what? This is what's important. You all shouldn't give a damn about geoengineering or accidental geoengineering. You should be watching the Super Bowl, getting ready to party because somebody's going to throw a piece of leather around and men are going to crash into men and the commercials will be so funny. And guess what? There are some sick, twisted people out there that really don't want you to focus on this. Why is this important? Because there's a lot of damn planes. You thought the ships were bad? Oh my God, you have no idea. Take a look at ADSBexchange.com, globe.adsb. That's the transponders. These are all planes tracked by satellite. Beautiful thing about this one that I really, really like is that it has a height meter on these. So as you get into the blue, the purple, and the pink area, we're talking about planes that are flying in the stratosphere, at the tropopause, at the top of the troposphere, where they can do the most damage to the climate, where they can affect the ozone layer, where they create the most cirrus clouds, where they make the most accidental geoengineering. Is this a coincidence? I don't know, you tell me, but when I click on this one right here, I can see this plane is currently flying 39,000 feet. This one, 40,000 feet. And you can see all of these, any one of these that's pink is currently flying right around 40,000 feet. Okay. So, just as a comparison, when we're talking 39,000 feet, we're talking, that's where the tropopause is. That is where the magic line between where all our weather occurs and where the stratosphere occurs. When you're flying that close to the line, your pollution is being deposited in the stratosphere. That is what solar radiation management intends to do, to inject particles into the stratosphere to block the sun. So if we have a situation where all of these planes that are pink that you're currently seeing on the screen, and I mean, you can just go on and on. They're everywhere. This one right here, 45,000 feet. Okay. So as I'm looking at these, every single pink and purple plane that I'm seeing, and there are many, and they are everywhere, and anywhere I go, I'm going to fill the screen with pink and purple, and you'll see that is a lot of freaking planes. And it only gets bigger the more you zoom out and you look. So we're talking, this is just over, the eastern part of America. There are probably 100,000 planes in the sky at any given hour, every single day. Why is this important? Because since 1959, since even before that, since 1948, planes have been farting in the sky, blocking out the sun, and people have been pissed about it, but nobody's ever done anything about it. This is the desert sun, and this is about Palm Springs, California. This is from weathermodificationhistory.com. And what you see is Air Force gives Village two choices: live with the trails or move the whole city. You cannot make this up. So for those who say this is all brand new, this whole chemtrail phenomena, never, it's only just in the last 10, 20 years, bullshit. All right. It's been going on since the dawn of flight. And I have documented this time and time again. Accidental geoengineering has been going on since they started flying. And here you see a general basically dressing down the public officials. The vapor trail story is explained to City Councilman Ted McKinney, Chamber of Commerce Manager Jimmy Cooper, and Chamber President Warren Slaughter by Brigadier General Prescott M. Spicer, commander of the 27th Air Division, during the summit conference on vapor trail problem at Norton Air Force Base. And this was in Palm Springs. And basically, what you find out when you look at these especially is that there are certain pathways in the sky. There are highways in the sky. And Palm Springs, California, happens to be at one of those crucial, crossing zones of the sky where all the planes coincide. And there's a couple of them, obviously. And if you live in one of these cities, hey, man, you don't get sunlight, period. Virginia Beach. I mean, I get emails all the time, photos all the time. Climate viewers, you guys are always sending me photos. I've seen it. I believe you. I know. I look at it from satellites. I look at it from emails everywhere in the world. But especially if you live in one of these crowded zones where one of these international airports are, or where the supercomputers have decided for all the planes to cross up, in the highways in the sky, like Palm Springs, as the Air Force would put it in 1959. Deal with it. Either, live with the trails or move the whole freaking city. And you can see that here on weathermodificationhistory.com. Contrail CIRRUS complaints begin nationwide, 1948 to present. And I have the entire, tail of the tape, as we could put it here. Mystery of the Point Augusta Sky Trails, 1948. Plane Vapor Trails, 1951. Jet Trails, Dim Sun, Palm Springs Gripes. That's a mouthful. 1958. Darn Sky Riders. This is Jimmy Cooper complaining about the blocking out the sun. As you know, Cooper wired son, our entire economy is dependent upon the tourist trade, which is predicated on our bright sunshine and warm climate. Recently, our sky has resembled a mob of exuberant sky riders performing an aerial circus. The contrails are not disappearing, but are breaking down into a haze and creating a cloud-like appearance in the sky. 1958. Okay, guys, all you conspiratards out there, you're going to tell me that here's a newspaper article, Spokane Daily Chronicle, 1958, Palm Springs. Names, dates, addresses, quotes. Whole sky blocked out, 1958. But this is a new problem. This accidental experiment, accidental geoengineering. It's been going on since they started flying. It's because of the jet fuel. It's because of atmospheric chemistry. It's because of cloud seeding. And that's why I say hashtag cirrus clouds matter. And you need to know about them. So as a result, new fuss raised over jet trails, 1958, same thing. Jimmy Cooper talking about the same thing, different thing. Ben Bulletin, exact same article, different newspaper, same time. And of course, the Air Force told him, go F yourself. Move the city. Nothing we can do about it. U.S. jet planes will lose their vapor trails soon, 1960. Laughable. Did not happen. Not going to happen. Man making Earth a bad place to live, professor says. And he goes on to talk about jets increase clouds. Bryson said that jet aircraft, one time, the region of operation for most supersonic transports might easily be 100% covered with cirrus clouds. The net effect of this would be to further reduce the heating of the Earth, and blue skies might become a rarity. 1968. So I bring all this up just to reiterate the point that when they say airplane contrails may be creating accidental geoengineering, this has been a long damn accident. So geoengineering has been occurring for decades, the results of which unknown. You are mocked if you bring it up as a conspiracy theorist. But Bloomberg would have you think, what if we blotted out the sun to fight global warming? And this is the same tired ass argument that I hear time and time and time again. Time and time again. This is from February 1st, 2002, by some jerkwad named Michael Newman, who is an opinion piece writer / editor for Bloomberg, was for Washington Post and a couple other places. Washington Post, Los Angeles, LA Times, and the New York Times. Obviously, screaming libtard, believes in global warming, is an idiot, doesn't really think this through because he contradicts himself just like they always do right out the get-go. Climate change. We like to think we cover the big stories around here. So today's newsletter is leading with the one question that's on everyone's mind. What is Tom Brady going to do in retirement? What can be done to stop or slow climate change? Really? That's the big question on everybody's mind. Michael Newman. Somebody at NAMWENM on Twitter. Hit this dude up with this video. Michael Newman, you are a retard and a shill. Ill-informed and doing the bidding of some very nasty people. We do not like you. Not at all. Attack ideas, not people. So give him a good tongue lashing. Don't hurt the guy. But beat him up with words. He deserves it. Michael Newman goes on to say, one of the great hopes is something called solar geoengineering. Can anybody in chat let me know in the comments, is this a great hope for you? Is solar geoengineering a great hope for you? Michael Newman right here at Newman on Twitter. Go hit him up. Editor, Bloomberg Opinion. Let this MFer know. Send him this video. Tweet it to him. I want him to know that I am sending him my special thanks for being today's Idiot of the Year. Good job shilling there, guy. One of the great hopes is something called solar geoengineering, notes Clara Fiera Marquez, which is essentially an attempt to figure out a way to cool the planet by deflecting some of the sun's rays before they reach us humans. The science isn't yet there, but a group of scientists argue it should be banned now. I'm gonna read that one again because damn, that's the line that I love. The science isn't there yet, but a group of scientists argue it should be banned now. And they are not wrong that it is risky and a last resort proposition. Okay. Clara argues it's terrifying and terrible in the way that chemotherapy is. We don't want it, but can we deny ourselves the possibility? Like they say, read the whole thing. And she wrote her article here. Solar geoengineering research is a risk worth taking. In a fight against climate change, the world can't afford to limit its options. By Clara Fiera Marquez. Government shill. Trashy person. Don't like you. Wouldn't pee on you to put a fire out. So then he does the 180. Despite the near universal agreement over the need to reduce global warming emissions, big oil is likely to get richer before it gets poorer. Today, notes Liam Denning, Exxon announced its best financial results in many years. We can thank former Vice President Joe Biden for that, because he cut off the Keystone XL pipeline while allowing a pipeline to Germany, which Germany already hates our guts because they found out Angela Merkel was pretty PO'd when she figured out that she wasn't a member of the Five Eyes Signals Intelligence Agreement, which I cover on climateviewer.com/privacy. You can see all the spy maps. So Angela Merkel's already, Angela Merkel, doesn't like America anymore, is buying Russian oil. The price of oil is going through the roof. I told everybody the day that Joe Biden was elected at my local gas station, hope you know what you're doing, because that thing right now says $1.80 and it'll be $3 before you can blink an eye. And I've seen people paying as much as $7 a damn gallon. So when this guy is like, big oil is likely to get richer before it gets poor today, notes Liam Denning, Exxon announced its best financial results in many years. That's because of supply and demand. Demand is not going away anytime soon. So less supply, more demand, we got to pay through the nose. And it's us poor people. We're paying at that pump through the nose. And some people I know, like 30% of the money in their household goes to paying for the gas just to get the kids to school and get their ass to work. So it affects poor people more than it affects rich people. That's why they don't care. They don't care. Okay? This guy does not care. Part of the reason for the surprising rosy short-term outlook for fossil fuels, notes David Fickling, is, spoiler alert, China. Yet, yes, it is using more renewables, he says, but it's also using more energy, a lot more. How will it meet demand? Fossil fuels, overwhelmingly, coal fill the gap. Now, what does coal in China have to do with Exxon and my gas bill? Nothing. Now, I totally agree. China puts out more pollution than every other country on the planet combined. This is a fact. I have the article in my freaking bookmarks. Not going to search for it right now. But China puts out more than everybody combined. That is some shit. So, he goes on to say, so maybe we'll need to keep solar engineering in our back pocket. Now, Michael, I thought you just said this was a bad idea. That the science isn't there. It's, like chemotherapy. But then he goes on to say, so maybe we'll need to keep solar geoengineering in our back pocket. It's not ideal, but it's a more hopeful vision of the future than the one Clara opens her column with. Admittedly, that's one from a dystopian novel. The more realistic view may come from the slide decks of big oil. Both Exxon and Chevron, Liam notes, now feature extended discussions of lower carbon businesses. Just outrageous. Just outrageous. So quickly does the 180. What if we blotted out the sun to fight global warming? I mean, what if? It's risky, but hell, we should keep our options open. And you have to ask yourself why. Well, I kind of covered this in a video I did on February 3rd. Solar geoengineering banned, but still going ahead. And in it, I talked about how the Convention for Biological Diversity at COP10 came up with the idea that no climate-related geoengineering activities that may affect biodiversity take place until there is adequate scientific basis on which to justify such activities and appropriate consideration of the associated risks for the environment and biodiversity on associated social, economic, and cultural impacts, with the exception of small-scale scientific research studies that would be conducted in a controlled setting in accordance with blah, 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 blah. So the Convention on Biological Diversity banned outdoor climate-related geoengineering activities that might affect any life on Earth at COP10. This is circa 2011. So even at the United Nations, the Convention on Biological Diversity said climate engineering, geoengineering should be a no-no. The ETC group, which runs geoengineeringmonitor.org, an NGO, they came up with the hashtag say no to solar geo. They also came up with, if you go to the front page of weathermodificationhistory.com, you come down here to the bottom and you see this, the hands off Mother Earth. Our home is not a laboratory. Hands off Mother Earth. So this comes from the ETC group and, the same people, basically. So these people came up with the idea to stop David Keith's ScopeX, his stratospheric aerosol injection, solar radiation management experiment from happening. And it was effective. They actually stopped David Keith from floating his balloon in Sweden, from floating his balloon in Arizona, and they've had to delay it and delay it and delay it. But now it's growing. It's growing even more. This is the Solar Geoengineering Non-Use Agreement. We call for an international non-use agreement on solar geoengineering. This is at solargeoeng.org. All links already in the detail. And of course, I call for a blanket ban on geoengineering. Of course, climateviewer.com/nmod. In addition, to get transparency and verification on all of the things happening in our sky, from cloud seeding to sounding rockets to sky heaters like ionospheric heaters like HARP, all of them, all of the things we need to know that when they're going on. And that is called the Environmental Modification Accountability Act. It's based on the NMOD treaty from 1978, which was a weather warfare ban, which to this day we cannot verify whether people are doing weather warfare or geoengineering, and that is unacceptable. So please check that out. But it's good to see that a international non-use agreement on solar geoengineering from the scientists themselves is now gaining traction. That's why you're seeing articles like this. That's why you're seeing these people fighting back to say, hey, wait, whoa, hold up. We need to keep this on the table. The reason why is because they're still planning on going ahead with this. And the legal version, the non-accidental version of geoengineering is called, of ship tracks, is called marine cloud brightening. The idea that we could create boats to spray aerosols into the clouds to then make them whiter, and then they would reflect more sunlight. Kind of like this. Really white freaking clouds that would reflect sunlight. So this is called the Marine Cloud Brightening Project. It is at mcbproject.org. It is also funded by silverlining.ngo, non-governmental office or officials or whatever. But it started out as what was called the Silver Lining Project. I've covered this at length on climateviewer.com and weathermodificationhistory.com. You can read all about it, how John Latham and Stephen Salter started this with Pacific Northwest National Labs, Leeds University, all that stuff. But regardless, the Silver Lining Project is now divided into two websites, silverlining.ngo and mcbproject.org. And their idea is to make ship tracks on purpose to block out the sun, to, as he put it, blot out the sun. And then you have the Koich group at Harvard's Solar Geoengineering Program, which has ScopeX, or the Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment, ScopeX. This is David Keith's balloon to do stratospheric aerosol injection, solar radiation management, or as they're just calling it now, solar geoengineering. So they're still pushing all this, despite the fact Convention on Biological Diversity said, no, shouldn't happen. Outdoors, no. Etc. group. Geoengineering Monitor. We have all of these groups from around the world that have said no. Please stop. That Hands Off Mother Earth, 110 civil society organizations and popular movements demand an immediate stop to climate geoengineering in 2018. This is the same group right here. And you can read their manifesto on that Hands Off Mother Earth manifesto, A Permanent Ban on Geoengineering 2018. So all of these people are coming out. And now we've got the scientists with the solar geoengineering non-use agreement. No, we want to do the ScopeX. We want to be able to go and legally geoengineer. Accidental geoengineering, cool. We want to keep that around as long as possible. Accidental, experiments in reducing global warming with ship tracks, got to keep that around. Be bad if we stop that. But we want to legalize this shit, baby. And the reason why is because the National Academy of Sciences just put out a report in 2021 called Reflecting Sunlight: Recommendations for Solar Geoengineering Research and Research Governance. The term governance should definitely raise the hairs on the back of your neck. The reason why I bring this up is because, like I showed in my last video, this is a problem. Why? Conflict of interest. Don't believe me? Who's this? Acknowledgements. We'd like to thank Frank N. Koich, Harvard University. Frank Koich, Harvard University? You mean the same guy from the Koich group at Harvard that is doing the ScopeX program? He is literally cited in the National Academy of Science paper as, an acknowledgement, along with some other, trusted geoengineers, Alan Robach, Robert Wood, and almost all of these names are familiar to me. I had to look a couple of them up, but regardless, all these people contributed to this National Academy of Science report in 2021 called, of course, Reflecting Sunlight. Recommendations for solar geoengineering research and research governance. In this paper, no shit, you cannot make this stuff up. They literally said that if we do outdoor experiments, they should be undetectable. It's in there. I covered it in my video. If you don't believe me, go back and watch this video. I showed it. Next video I'm going to put up is going to actually be the entire conversation that was had. They had a Zoom call meeting on this report. I'm going to upload the entire Zoom call meeting. Just, for full transparency's sake. It'll be appearing on this channel probably tomorrow. So look forward to that. I meant to get it up before, but as some of you know, I've been sick for like 2 weeks. I'm finally feeling splendiferous again. So that being said, so Frank Koich, cited by name, is a member of David Keith's and Bill Gates' ScopeX Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment, is in the National Academy of Science report, is being shilled on Bloomberg. And the question you have to ask yourself is why? And the answer is pretty simple, because as I covered in one of my most lengthy pieces I've done, the Climate Changers and Water Wars, Technocracy, Geoengineering, and Replacing the Water Cycle. You can see right here. Let's go to this, and I'm going to go to full screen, and I put this slide up. Let me get my face out the way. So I created this slide to give you just an overview of their thinking on all this. And this is why you're going to repeatedly hear it on this channel. You're going to repeatedly hear it from the propaganda, mainstream, legacy news, fake news, that everything you're seeing is accidental. Everything we're talking about is experimental, something we should keep in our back pocket for the future. But this is the way it goes. Step 1, accidental geoengineering. Begin geoengineering, climate engineering, or climate intervention using pollution sources that create clouds. Call it an accident. Step 2, geoengineering governance. Like was stated in the paper that I just mentioned. write laws to exempt technocrat scientists from legal liability. That's what geoengineering governance is about governing the technology of geoengineering. Not the accidental geoengineering, all the stuff they got planned. Write laws to exempt technocrat scientists from legal liability. Step 3, field experiments. Begin, quote, testing geoengineering technology and gauge public response. See David Keith and ScopeX. I put that in the note. So, final step, number 4, legal global deployment. Gain control of Earth's thermostat and alter rainfall patterns worldwide. Own the water. Gain control of Earth's thermostat and alter rainfall patterns worldwide. Own the water. Because as David Kaczynski said, the lieutenant colonel in the Air Force who controls the weather and steers atmospheric rivers, water will be to the next century what oil was to the last. Blue gold. But this is all about controlling resources, human resources and water, because water is life. And controlling the temperature of the planet, warning everybody that global warming is going to kill you, so you need to change your behavior. Meanwhile, 16 ships put out more pollution than every car on the planet. They want to keep telling you it's your fault. But this is really about control. Control of your behavior, control of your mind. The perception managers would have you believe it's all your fault. That what you're seeing overhead isn't what you're seeing. Don't believe your lying eyes. If you care about climate change, then you want clean water, you want clean air, and you want clean forests. You like trees. You want to see nature restored and us live in harmony with it. Globalization is the antithesis of that. It guarantees a future where we end up looking like Coruscant from freaking Star Wars, where there isn't a single tree. The whole world is one big city, and everything is controlled by powerful elites known as technocrats who sit behind their desks at the United Nations, at the IPCC, at any one of these 3-letter agencies, and they dictate everything in your life. I do not approve of geoengineering, whether it's accidental or intentional. I do not approve of weather modification. I think that you would agree on that. I want you to let me know in the comments, now that you've seen the whole video, now that I've laid it out for you, now that you know the steps going forward, that you know that we're talking about going from accidental geoengineering, where you just call it an accident, what's been going on for the last decades, to governance, to make it to where you can't even sue these people whenever they kill people. David Keith himself admits that solar geoengineering will kill many tens of thousands of people, and he doesn't lightly sweep that under the rug. He says it right out of his own mouth. But they don't want to be held liable. So that's what governance is about. Plus, we might end up in World War III if China decided to geoengineer and then America didn't like it. So there's that. Field experiments, where they go ahead and start testing geoengineering technology, and then gauge public response. Do people freak out? Or are they completely passive to it? Is the Super Bowl more important than the fact that there are assholes dumping chemicals intentionally with the purpose to blot out the sun? Because if you do nothing, legal global deployment, they will write laws, they will make it legal, they will implement programs and budgets. There will be geoengineering on a worldwide scale, and there will be little to nothing that we can do about it after that. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. Carl Sagan. And that's the case. That's where we're at. If we do not put a stop to this now, this is the fight of our age. I have 2 daughters, beautiful daughters, 12-year-olds, 5-year-old. I do not want them to grow up in a world where some bureaucrat, some globalist technocrat decides the thermometer of the planet, the thermostat of the planet, that they can create accidental artificial volcanoes in the sky, because that's what they're doing. They're mimicking volcanoes. When volcanoes erupt, they put a whole bunch of chemicals into the stratosphere and it cools the planet. These people want to create artificial volcanoes to control the temperature of the planet, because also when volcanoes erupt, it changes rainfall patterns worldwide. What normally happens when you geoengineer or a volcano, large one like Mount Pinatubo, erupts? It gets drier in the southern hemisphere and wetter in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, that's right. You can look forward to floods, biblical floods in the northern hemisphere, and lots of dead brown people in the southern hemisphere. And you poor bastards in Australia. So if that's a future you want, if you want a future where you cannot see the stars at night, where telescopes no longer operate, where solar panels have no chance of ever being a useful tool, because the technocrats will control the ability to block out the sun. And if you block out the sun, how can you have solar energy? There are so many questions I have, and all of them go back to, it's all about control. Control of your behavior, control of resources, human resources, water, food. They want to control everything in your life. Don't allow them to. Be a rugged individualist. Stand up for your freedom. Fight geoengineering tooth and nail. Make sure your voice is heard. Please support the Environmental Modification Accountability Act on a local level. Screw the United Nations. We need transparency. We need verification. We need to be able to put these people in jail and or sue them till they're flat out broke. Otherwise, we are absolutely screwed, because they have all these technologies to control the weather already today. We do not need them to have the ability to do geoengineering on a worldwide scale. They're already doing it with aircraft. They're already doing it with ship tracks. Then we're not even going to talk about all of the ionospheric heaters worldwide, all of the billions and trillions of watts of electricity that they're using to alter space weather, because it's bad enough that this stuff affects your health, but all of this is affecting the weather, and that weather is right over your head. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to go over to connect.climateviewer.com. Check me out on all my socials, which pick your poison, which one you like, which one you dislike. And my videos get mirrored to Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute. For those who just can't tolerate the YouTube. But like I said, everything I do is open source. You're free to download this video, spread it far and wide. Please share the video on the link on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. It benefits the channel, if nothing else. People watch the ads because not very many people donate. I greatly appreciate everybody who has signed up for my Patreon or sends a donation on PayPal. Everybody who's come over and subbed my channel is growing pretty well, considering how long I've been shadow banned. So I really appreciate that. And to everybody who hung out in chat, I'm so glad you were a part of this. I'm going to go back and read all of the chat now that the video's over with. And we will do this again. Sunday, I want to have more of a chat experience where I get to engage with you guys. I'll even in the future, bring this up, and I'll even click this button maybe next week where you guys can call in, because we haven't done that in a while. So look forward to that in the future. We'll do another call-in show, and I'll take your questions live on the air. And that'll be a special Sunday thing. So thank you to everybody who tuned in. Please share this video. Gently smush the like button. YouTube already hates my guts. So be gentle with that like button, but please smush it. Leave me a comment. Tell me, are you a geoengineering supporter? I mean, because if you are, I will be surprised if we get one person who says that, you know what, global warming is so bad that I think that we should still study geoengineering. And, we probably, should go ahead with this. Oh yeah, and before we end this, I certainly want to, give a reminder to everybody to please go over and make sure, especially, that Mr. Michael Newman on Twitter gets a copy of this video. I want to make sure that this guy who wrote this stupid article knows that we was talking about him. Definitely. So please go tweet Michael Newman this video. Share it everywhere you can, because I'm banned. Like I'm trying not to curse. It's a new thing. I'm trying it out. But regardless, thank you all for tuning in. And remember that, there's a lot of information here. The links are already provided in the details. They will be on the mirrored videos. Please include those if you do decide. Blue Sky, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. If you do share this video, please share the links that are in the details with it, because, this is about getting the truth out there. This is about sharing information. And with sharing is definitely a form of caring. And with information comes power. And with power comes great responsibility. So please use the information I've provided in this video to attack ideas, not people. Love you, mean it. Stay safe out there. And screw the Super Bowl. There's much more important things to deal with.